Good morning, Messina Central High School families. It's Mr. Oliver again. I'm doing a follow-up video this week to talk a little bit more specifically about vaccination testing and the end of the year events. As you'll recall, last week I did a video where we talked a bit about the end of the year events like picnic, prom, and graduation. And we talked about how New York State Department of Health was requiring students for the size events that we have to run to either show proof of vaccination or to show a negative COVID test prior to the event. If you need more information about the rules for the events, you can go back and look at that video I posted last week. Today, I'm looking more specifically into vaccination for our families. So again, moving forward, looking at our events, there are options. And I want to be very clear about this. I'm trying very hard to inhabit a space where I'm not saying anything that'll come off as offensive to anybody, especially depending on your beliefs about vaccination or not. So this video is simply about if you opt for vaccination, here's some things that you ought to know. And the things that I want to go through really quickly, and if you watch the news, you know most of this already. There's three options for vaccinations. There's a Pfizer shot, a Moderna shot, and a Johnson & Johnson shot. Basically speaking, they all give you a level of vaccination, and after you go through the shot cycle, you'll be fully vaccinated, and any of the three of these would get you into either the prom or the graduation. But the rules are this. For Pfizer, you have to have 2 shots. Those 2 shots are 3 weeks apart, and you have to wait for 2 weeks after the second shot to be fully vaccinated. The Moderna shot is also 2 shots. They're 4 weeks apart. And again, you have to wait 2 weeks to be fully vaccinated after the second shot. The third option is Johnson & Johnson, which is 1 shot. And after you get that shot, 2 weeks later, you're fully vaccinated. So those are really the 3 choices that you would have if you're choosing to look at a vaccination for these end of the year events. To try and help explain this, I kind of whipped up this calendar and started on today. So let's imagine today's the 11th, which it is, not hard to imagine. And let's imagine on today you got one of the 3 shots. So if you start with the Pfizer shot, you can see that if you had a shot today, you have to wait till the 3rd week, you get your second shot. Then you have to wait 2 weeks later, and the day after that, you're fully vaccinated. The Moderna shot, if you got that shot today, you actually have to wait 4 weeks, and then you would have your second shot. And then 2 weeks after that, you're fully vaccinated. The third option is the Johnson & Johnson shot. And if you had that shot today, in 2 weeks, 1 day later, you would be fully vaccinated. So that's how it works out on a calendar. I want you to pay attention to some things on here, because if you go for the Pfizer and Moderna shot, you'll see that you're not fully vaccinated until after prom, but before graduation. So I was hoping this calendar would sort of help you visualize where things are at with the shots. So if you're looking and considering for your family getting a shot, and I'm going to cover up this lovely graphic I put up, there's some notes I want you to consider. And once again, this is your choice. The other option, obviously, if you don't go for vaccination, is to get a negative COVID test, and that works as well. And we'll talk more about that in a subsequent video. So if you're going for the shot, the first thing you should know, a student who opts to get the J&J shot this week or early next week has plenty of time to be fully vaccinated before the prom. So that's a good thing. All vaccines, the Johnson & Johnson, the Moderna, the Pfizer, as of today, would get you fully vaccinated before graduation. That's useful to know for both students and parents, because you'll both need to show it if you choose vaccination to go to graduation. If a student were to get vaccinated this week and they opted for the Moderna or the Pfizer shot, it's very likely they're not, well, it's not very likely, they wouldn't be fully vaccinated before the prom, and they would still need to get a negative COVID test for the prom. So regardless, no matter what you choose, the reason I'm putting this video out today is if your family chooses vaccination as the route they're going to go, you really don't have a lot of time to wait. This is something you need to be considering doing right now because of the time frames involved with the vaccination. The other thing that I'd have you know is, and this goes for students and parents, if you're 18 or older, you can just show up at any of the sites and you can get a shot. If you're under the age of 18, you need parental consent to get one of these vaccines as well. So how do you find out where to get them? So there's a website. It's called vaccines.gov/search. And once you get on there, you enter your zip code. This is what the website looks like over here. And when you enter your zip code, it'll bring up the whole list of places in the area where the vaccine is available. You can see it lists it, where it is, and that it's in stock. And if you were actually to click on one of these links, it would tell you which shot they have in stock. I did this within 25 miles, so it gets its way out to the SUNY Potsdam Fieldhouse. I just checked this as of this morning. The Pfizer shot is winding down out there, but starting next week, they'll have Johnson & Johnson out there. So these are all the places you can go. All you have to do is go to this website, you enter your zip code, it'll give you the list, and it'll tell you how to get a shot there. So I hope that's helpful if you're considering vaccination. So the final notes on this video, and I'm trying to get in under the 20-minute video I made last time, is a simple reminder. This video I'm making for informational purposes only. It is not a recommendation. Your family has a choice for these large events between vaccination and a negative COVID test. I'm making the video on vaccination first because there's time at play. If you're choosing that, you can see in this video that you definitely have a timeline you're butting up against. Not as much for graduation, but definitely for prom. If you have questions about vaccines, I would tell you the first thing, as always, is to consult your primary physician. And if you'd also like, the CDC has a lot of great information on their webpage about the 3 vaccines as well. Anne-Marie Miller, our school nurse, and I put her email on here, is available to answer some low-level questions. I don't want you looking for full medical advice from her, but if you have some basic questions, she can answer them. And as always, if you have questions about how the New York State mandate for vaccination and negative testing for these large events interplays with how we're running things at the school, by all means, give me a call. I hoped that this morning this video was helpful and gives you some of the basic information you need to help with your planning for vaccines, if that's your choice. If you're not opting for the vaccine route, I will put out more information in the future about what the parameters for testing will look like. But this is all I wanted to share with you today. As always, parents and students, we appreciate you. Thanks a lot and have a great day.